Welcome to the Modern Day Cottage. I'm Emily Ryder and this is my daughter,
Ruby Ann.
Today in this tutorial, we're going to be sharing with you guys how we make fluffy vanilla marshmallows. This is a simple step-by-step tutorial recipe and I hope you enjoy it. Alright, the first step we're going to do is we're going to grease our pan and our spatula. This is an 8x8 pan and we are using refined coconut oil so it doesn't taste like coconut. Alright, so we're just going to grease that really well and set this aside. And then we're going to grease the spatula we're going to use as well so it doesn't stick to it. Alright, I'm going to put that to the side. Alright, so we've got the pan greased and now we're going to add 3 packets of Knox gelatin to the stand mixer with half of the 3/4 of a cup of your water. So you'll have that. So it's half of 3/4 cup. Okay, Ruby, if you'll go ahead and add those two. This is called blooming the gelatin. That is a term for it. So basically we're going to dissolve the gelatin. You're supposed to add the water first and then sprinkle the gelatin on the top. And if you don't have 3 packets of Knox gelatin, you just have, just gelatin, it would be 7 teaspoons of powdered gelatin if you don't have packets. Alright, so we're going to let that bloom. You can tell why it's called the bloom. Isn't that cool? Okay, so it's blooming and we're going to go ahead and go on the stove and mix up the corn syrup, the sugar, and the other half of the water that we divided. Alright, so we're going to go over to the stove and we're going to mix this up.
Alright, now we're going to bring to a boil 2/3 of a cup light corn syrup, 2 cups of granulated sugar, and a half of 3/4 of a cup of water.
Alright, you'll want to use a candy thermometer. And we're going to bring it up to right before a hard ball. So when it reaches in between a soft ball and a hard ball, you want to cut it off, move it from the heat and mix it up, and then we're going to add it to the blooming gelatin. Alright, so we're going to add in, well, first I'm going to mix up the stuff. Then I'm going to put the corn syrup in. And then we're going to add in the sugar. And then you want to go ahead and stir it up before you turn on the heat. That way you don't have anything burning or sticking on the pan. So I just give it a good mix. So give it this once and final stir. You won't stir it up again until you stir it into the bloomed gelatin. Alright, so now I'm going to put the thermometer in there. I'm going to bring it to a medium-high heat. And we're going to bring it to a boil. You'll want to bring it to a boil until it reaches that 235. But I'll give you a tip. When it starts reaching 220, 225, go ahead and remove it from the heat. And do not stir. You can mix it like that as it's going so it doesn't boil. Stirring it causes the chemical reaction which causes a crystal formation in your marshmallows. So you don't want to do that. When you're making any kind of candy, you don't want to stir it. It causes air bubbles in it. It causes it to crystallize. Alright, so we're about 180 degrees and it still has not come to a boil. Once it comes to a rolling boil, you can time it. It's about 1 minute to get it to 235. Okay, so it's at a rolling boil. You can see it right here. Gets foamy. Okay, we're at 220. These marshmallows are really good to make with Rice Krispie treat. They're also very good for s'mores, for your fall campfire. These homemade marshmallows are absolutely one of my favorite fall treats to make every year. You can add different flavorings to them. You can add seasonings to them instead of just making them just simple vanilla marshmallows. All right, we are almost at the soft ball stage. You can also check this by using a glass of water and dripping a little bit in it, and when it becomes, and there's different characteristics that will show for a soft ball or a hard ball. Seems like this spot right here, 220 to the soft ball is, it's like it's the threshold of it. It seems like it takes forever. Turn up the heat just a little bit. We're gonna let that cook for 1 minute. I'm gonna set a timer. And then we should be right at the perfect spot to get this off. All right, we have gotten to the soft ball stage, and we are going to take this over to the stand mixer and add it to the blooming gelatin. Now we're going to pour in the hot corn syrup, water, and sugar into the blooming gelatin. And you want to put the wire whisk on your mixer. All right, so I'm going to add this to the blooming bloom gelatin mixture. You want to get every last bit out of there. All right, and we're going to mix on high for 6 minutes, 6 to 10 minutes. Okay, so we have been mixing up the melted carob syrup, sugar, and water from the stove. And we boiled that up until it got to the soft boil stage for 1 minute. And then we've taken it, we've added it to the bloom gelatin, and we have been mixing it with the stand mixer on high for the past, I would say 9 minutes. So it just varies how long you have to beat it depending on your humidity and your temperature wherever you're baking at. So we've done that, and it's to a form peak. I added in the salt while it was beating it, and so I'm going to add in the vanilla, and this is going to be the last step, and then we're going to put it into the pan. All right, so I'm going to add in the vanilla extract. If you want your marshmallows super white, you want to use a clear vanilla extract, but I just used homemade vanilla extract that we make here for our cottage kitchen. We tend to like the homemade over the store-bought. It's so yummy. Super simple to make as well. And this is easy to make your own marshmallows.
And they're delicious too.
Oh, they are so yummy.
Sounds so light.
We're using an 8x8 because we want them big. You can use a 9x9 pan. You can use a 9x13 pan. You can do whatever you want to do. Depends on how thick you want your marshmallows to be. You can even add egg whites to them and be able to pop them into different shapes, like make your own peeps for Easter. All right, so now we're going to smooth it down with a spatula, and I'm going to oil the spatula, and I'm going to smush it down. Just try to get it as smooth as possible on the top. And leveled. If you want symmetrical shaped marshmallows instead of kind of rustic like what we're making, you can wet your hands and pat it down too, but I think this does a pretty good job. So now we're going to oil or grease a piece of plastic wrap, put on top, and then we're going to refrigerate them overnight. You can refrigerate 6 hours or overnight. I prefer the 6 hours because they seem to really do better the longer they set, and they seem to melt better. Oops. Oops. All right, hold it down while you grease it. Okay, so then we take the greased plastic wrap, and you want to make sure that you smash it down all the way and there's no air gaps on top of the marshmallow. All right, and then you're gonna pop this into the refrigerator overnight for at least 6 hours if you're in a hurry and you want your marshmallows. Then once your fluffy vanilla marshmallows set in the refrigerator overnight, you'll take them out and we'll show you what we do next with the next step. The fluffy vanilla marshmallows have set overnight, and now we are taking off the film, the plastic film off the top. And even though we greased it, it's still stuck a little bit. So, word of caution, use more than what you think when you oil your plastic wrap. Okay, so we are going to get this out and put it on a piece of parchment paper. And then we're going to use 1/4 cup of confectionate sugar and 1/4 cup of cornstarch. We're going to mix those up, and then we're going to use it to dust them and to keep them from sticking after we cut them. Ooh. They are so good. You will not regret learning how to make your own homemade marshmallows this fall season. This is a delicious treat to have. No high fructose corn syrup was used. We did use corn syrup, but it is not the same thing as high fructose corn syrup. I'm going to use this knife that's sharper just to kind of go around again. Okay. Okay, so we're going to combine 1/4 cup of cornstarch and 1/4 cup of confectionate sugar. I'm going to combine these and use this for the dusting for the marshmallows. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to dust them on the top. Oh, and I got a piece of parchment paper under these so they don't stick to the pan. Alright, so you're going to butter your knife, and you're going to cut through. I'm going to transfer it to a cutting board. So we're going to cut these in 1-inch segments. You can cut them however you want. Oh no. Oh, so you want to put these in an airtight container once you make them. So I'll demonstrate. So after you've cut them and they're in squares, you want to roll them around in your little bowl of cornstarch and powdered sugar. And I'll just lay them in this. I'll just lay them in this tray, and then we can transfer them to a container. And if you see little bits, that's little bits in our marshmallows, like discoloration. It's the salt that we use, the Redmond sea salt. It has natural minerals in it. If you don't want those, just use regular table salt. Just make sure it's not iodized table salt, because it will change the flavor somewhat, because it's got iodine in it. We're going to use 10 ounces of these for our Rice Krispie treats, for our pumpkin pie spice Rice Krispie treats. All right, we're going to try the fluffy vanilla marshmallows now and see how good they are, which I already tried a little bit before. The residual. Now they make a mess, so. Oh my heavens. Oh my heavens. We make our homemade vanilla extract with spiced rum, and I think that just makes that you can get all those notes in it. We prefer that way, but you can most certainly make your homemade vanilla with vodka or something plain.
Oh, so good.
As Amazon associates, we earn from qualifying purchases from the links below, as well as our Azuri Standard affiliate programs as well. Thank you for shopping our Amazon affiliate program, and as well as our Azuri Standard program. This is a recipe that you'll be coming to over and over again for your marshmallow treats, especially Rice Krispie treats. Thank you for taking time to watch our video. We hope you've enjoyed our content. We'll see you in the next video.